When I started this channel, I not only wanted to share informational videos about like things I learned through the law school admissions process or studying for the LSAT. I wanted to make sure that I'm actually sharing my feelings and my emotions going through this process so that other people who run across this content like yourself know that you're not alone, that your feelings are normal or common, or it's just part of the journey. In my last video, I talked about unexpected technical challenges that I ran into when filling out the applications themselves, but I want to talk a little bit more about how the emotional part of this process. One thing I will say is, like, I was approved for the LSAC fee waiver, but I was only approved for tier 2. So what that means is that I was approved for 1 free test and 3 CAS report fee waivers. So every application that you submit, there are 2 fees. You have the school's application fee, and then you have LSAC's report fee, which is $45. So I have had a lot of schools waive my application fees, and I've gotten so many emails. Like, there's so many more schools I would apply to if I didn't have to pay that $45 report fee. And my financial circumstances have dramatically changed from when I first applied for that fee waiver, and I'm not able to, like, that's it. Like, you can't change it, they said, until like May 2026. So these are the cards that I've been dealt. I wanted to apply to a lot more schools than I have, just for the sake of having more leverage or more offers that I can use to help negotiating with schools. There's only one school that I really want to go to. I don't want to share what that school is right now while my applications are still being reviewed. I'll share all of that once my admission cycle is over, but I don't want to share that information right now while things are still up in the air for various reasons. And I'll talk more about that once the admission cycle is over. But there's only one school I truly want to go to, and I applied to that school first. I talked about this in the last video, but because I wanted to make sure that that application got in as early as possible, I'm applying way later in the cycle than I had initially anticipated. But I was dealing with an eviction and I had to move. I had to find a place to move, and then I had to figure out the logistics of how to move. And that threw me off and pushed my timeline back about a month, because not only do you have to deal with the move and finding a place, then there's the actual moving of things, and then there's like the getting settled in. And it was a little while before I was able to actually like sit down and get my applications done. So it's very frustrating not being able to apply to as many schools as I would like to. On the flip side, I tell myself, like, well, there's no real need, because you're not going to go to these other schools, and a big reason for that is location. I have committed. My daughter got into a private boarding school on 100% scholarship, and I didn't expect her admissions process to happen so fast and to be done before mine was. When I was first considering it, I didn't know what their application timeline was, and it happened a lot earlier than I expected. It started with, if I get into this school over here, then she can go to this boarding school, which will make my life so much easier while I am studying. And this is something I put into my YX school statements. But it's a Monday through Friday boarding school, so she'll have to come home on the weekends. So I have to live a reasonable commute from the school, and that limits my school options. We had to fly across the country for her to, let me back up. I had to submit all of her documents, her report card, her behavioral card. She had to get a letter recommendation from her teacher. She's only in the 4th grade. And then she had to be invited to take the assessment test. She was invited to take the assessment test. And not only did she have to do the assessment test there in person, she had to do a full shadow day from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. where they can observe her behavior, and then she can see how she feels, and both sides can see if the school is a good fit. So we went out there, and she passed her test, and she passed her shadow day, and she got accepted. And so I'm not going to take that opportunity away from her after making her fly across the country to go through this whole process. And I know the pressure that she felt to get in, and she's really excited, and the school's going to be really good for her whether I'm going to law school or not. It's just going to be really good for her. It's really designed for single parents or people who like children who are like their grandparents have guardianship or something over them, to help the child get the support that they need in a household where there's only one parent, and it allows the parent to be able to work more hours or do things to better their position in life. And so I'm very, very grateful. It's a blessing that I wasn't even expecting. I didn't even know that this type of option existed until I ran across it on TikTok, and it just so happens to be a very short distance from a very top law school. And so I was planning this whole time to, like, my goal was to get into a top law school, not just T14, but like a top 5, top 6, or this really, I won't say it limits my options. There are other schools nearby that my LSAT score is above their 75th percentile. They've emailed me. I'm sure I could get in with a full ride, if not at least close to a full ride, most likely a full ride. But I attended info sessions, and I've done campus tours of lower ranked schools, and it just doesn't feel like a good fit, because it feels like the school's expectations of their students aren't very high. The Zoom sessions for a top 10 school, they open up and they ask if you have any questions for them. These schools are in their Zoom sessions going over how to fill out applications and how to create an Excel sheet to track your applications. And it's like, why do you think that we haven't researched this yet? Or why do you think we can't figure this out? Like, if I'm attending a Zoom session, I should be able to find out things about your specific admissions process that I can't find anywhere else. Why would you spend this hour giving me information that I can find on YouTube or Google? But that's a side tangent. Anyways, so I've put a lot of pressure, or I guess you could say I've put it on myself, because nobody else in the world is, the world will keep turning. There's nothing like other than my own future and feelings riding on this. But I started talking about this to say, like, I can only afford to apply to so many schools. Like, literally, I can only afford to apply to so many schools. And long story short, I've put all my eggs in the baskets of very high ranked, low admission percentage schools. I believe that I will get in. That was my plan before being limited to a certain location. But knowing that I can only afford to apply to these schools, because I have to apply to the schools that I actually want to attend, right? And then you want to apply to other schools that can give you leverage based on their ranking if you get a better offer from one of them. And then you want to apply to, like, what people will call safety schools. I can't even afford to apply to safety schools. Why would I only apply to safety schools if that's not where I actually want to attend? So it's forced me to, like, basically it's top school or bust at this point. And I've made peace with, just while I'm extremely confident in me being able to get into the school I want to go to, or one of the other top schools, I like to be a realist, and for the sake of like I'm not God, and out of respect for God, I like to be at peace with the idea that things might not go my way. And if I don't get into one of the schools I really want to go to, then I've already decided I will just wait another admission cycle, take the LSAT again. All I can do is score higher on the LSAT. I can't change my GPA, but I got a very glowing letter of recommendation from a professor from over 10 years ago. The letter is recent, but she was my journalism advisor over 10 years ago. And the fact that she remembered me, like, these schools are not expecting me to have a academic letter recommendation from that long ago when I've been out of undergrad for that long. And the fact that I pulled it off and got a very good, like, I think that says a lot. All of this to say, I volunteered, I created, or not created, but, I made sure that I had enough powerful or strong, compelling experiences to even be able to talk about that were recent. If I don't get in, all I can do is take the LSAT again, I mean, I'd write new essays, of course, but I scored high, but of course I could score higher. I'm not above the median of these schools, but I'm not in the bottom of these schools' LSAT range either. So that said, all I can do at this point is wait. There's one more school that I think I'm going to apply to, because it is a school that I could make the commute from to pick her up on weekends from school. It's a doable distance. I won't even necessarily say reasonable. I mean, I guess it's reasonable if it's doable, but it's not ideal. I don't want to have to be traveling for 2 hours each way every weekend to pick her up and drop her off. But for the sake of having options, I think there's one more school I'm going to apply to. And I have one other application that's completed in my cart, and I had all the intentions of applying there. But if it comes down to this school or that school, I'm going to apply to the school that I can actually attend if accepted, where the other one was one I think I can get in with a good scholarship offer based on statistics and other factors. But I just can't afford the application right now. Or maybe I can submit it later, like after I pay rent, but it's just going to be so much later in the application cycle. Like, is it worth it? I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But the whole point of this video is I just wanted to share, and I've rambled, and this conversation has gone from here to there and back in all these places, but that's how it feels. That's what this application process looks like. I have to have faith, but it's not just faith. Like, there are very tangible reasons on paper, literally, why these schools would be lucky to have me. It's a two-way street. Obviously, these schools know that they can change my life, and I made sure I approached my applications from the stance of how these schools can benefit from admitting me, what I will bring to the campus, not just what I bring to the school as an alum, but what I can contribute to my class, to my classmates, and to even incoming classes after I'm a 1L. I worked with a consulting company that specializes in helping, marginalized minority students with their applications. It was founded by a Black woman who went to Harvard Law School, so they know, what it takes to get into top schools. They've done it themselves, and they've helped others do it. And they have told me that they think I have a really good shot and I have a really compelling story. So on top of my scores, I know that my essays are good. I wrote every single optional essay that a school allowed me to write, And if there was a gray area in being able to submit additional documents, I submitted, maybe 1 or 2 extra essays as well. I tailored my essays and my applications to every single school based on their values and their location and what I know about the culture of the school, what I know the school has a lot of, what I know the school is lacking. I put a lot of thought and effort into my applications. And now, we just wait. I can say that if worst case scenario, I don't get into a single one of the schools I applied to, I know I gave it my best shot. But I also believe that while effort is not enough, like if everybody can work hard, but that's not enough. Like, you're not being evaluated on how hard you work. You're being evaluated on your product, your work product, your scores and the essays you produced. But I can be at peace with myself knowing that I gave a complete full effort, and now we just wait and see how it goes. Yeah. So if you're watching this and you are going through the admissions cycle too, I don't even want to say the best of luck, because it's not luck that gets us in. But I hope that everybody's application cycle turns out how they want it. And I know our application cycles will turn out exactly how they should. I've learned firsthand that what we think should be how something happens isn't always what's best for us. And so I know that either way, no matter what happens, I am where I'm supposed to be. I will end up where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. And I have peace with that. But yeah, so if you haven't already, please subscribe, like this video. It helps my channel out a lot. My goal is to have my channel monetized before I start law school so that it can help, possibly be another source of income for me while I'm in school, or another source of income outside of loans and possible savings. So yeah. Oh, I'm planning on starting to go live and do like LSAT question reviews, group study sessions, if you will, help other people. Like, I used LSAT Demon and I had their premium version, and so these, like how they did their classes, I would like to go live and help people go over so you can see my thought process and answer any questions. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, so see you in the next one.